This is the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast, hosted by David Charlton, and you're listening to this podcast to help you build your own mental toughness, so that you can support other people or your clients better. Either way, you will learn more about developing this plastic personality trait that all but guarantees that you will perform better and lead a more prosperous life. Hi, welcome back to Demystifying Mental Toughness. And today I'm throwing in an ad hoc episode, which I'm going to do from time to time moving forward. And in this episode, I'm going to answer a popular question that I often get asked. So, as you'll be aware by listening to the podcast, I support a lot of golfers, from youngsters 10 years old up to elite tour professionals. And location isn't an issue now with the popularity of video calls. I reach corners of the globe now, which I wouldn't have done 2 years ago. And from that, I do get asked an awful lot of questions from golfers. Anyway, so today, the question comes from James, a 3-handicap golfer. James says, I struggle with my confidence. I overthink and can be indecisive on the golf course. How can you help me? The question James asks, I do get asked similar questions an awful lot. No doubt about it. It's very, very common. And I'm going to share with you one particular tool which I believe can work very, very well in this instance. So I want to talk you through a scenario now. You see yourself on the first green with a sloping left to right downhill putt from 35 feet. You see yourself taking the putter back and through time and time again, feeling the weight of the putter. You feel the lightness in your grip. You're judging how far back and how far through you need to take the putter. As you do so, you exhale and inhale forcefully, relaxing your body. As you imagine hearing the putter strike the ball, you see the number and the make of the ball. Alongside the dimples of the ball, roll and roll across the slopes, down towards the hole, rolling over clear spots that you've identified. And as you do so, you feel the wind and the sun on your face. And as the ball begins to get closer and closer to the hole, you start to feel the anticipation in your body as you prepare yourself to celebrate holding a monster putt. You hear the clunk as the ball hits the hole, and you see yourself celebrating with a big smile and a fist pump just like Tiger. I bet that gave you a nice feeling. It certainly did me. I could see that very clearly as I was talking through that. And what's that all about? Well, it's the mind, isn't it? The mind is a hugely powerful weapon. And it's a weapon that lots of professional golfers and professional athletes, for that matter, use very well. But often, everybody could actually benefit from using the mind in a more systematic way. And if they did so, along with their talent, their physical preparation, their recovery, they would get an awful lot more from themselves. You know, not every golfer is world class, like Tiger, like Rory, but anyone can improve their performance by systematically using imagery. And I'm going to give you 7 reasons now why you should consider using imagery, why you should consider visualizing. It really does help develop your skills. It can help you achieve more of your goals much faster. It equips you better when dealing with pressure with those short putts. It can really help you feel more confident. It sharpens up your focus. Thinking about that task there that we did there, when you were visualizing the 35-foot putt on the first green, what was your focus like? 2 more things. It can also energize you and motivate you. And it's a fantastic way of learning to control your emotions. So what actually is imagery or visualization? I'm sure you'll have heard about it, and you may well assume that it's about visualizing a putt or a shot. And you're right, that is true. But there's an awful lot more to it. Imagery allows us to recreate and create experiences in our mind. You know, golfers can get caught up in replaying bad shots time and time again in their head, mistakes, double bogeys, triple bogeys. Imagery, if it's used well, if it's planned and controlled, you can really learn from these mistakes and you can reprogram your mind and your body so that you go on to play more consistently and more decisively. Let's consider Jack Nicklaus. Jack said, "I've never missed a putt in my mind." Now, why is that? Because Jack clearly used visualization. So a systematic imagery training program combines what you see, what you feel, what you hear, what you smell, and even what you taste as well when you're on the golf course. But not just on the golf course, it's when you're practicing too, and when you're training. So I'm going to give you a few questions now just so you can help recreate some of these positive experiences. So you might want to close your eyes when you do this, or I certainly wouldn't do that if you're driving and listening though. So here we go. Question 1. What does it sound like when you make the perfect strike with an approach shot and when your iron powerfully connects with the ball through the grass? Here's another one. What can you smell on the golf course on a beautiful summer's day? How does your grip feel when you're pitching at your best from around the greens? When you're in contention in a competitive event or tournament, when and how do you feel when you're tasting success? Then lastly, when you're playing your absolute best golf, how do you walk between shots? What would other people notice from the side of the fairway, in your stride length, in your body language, in your facial expressions? These are the types of scenarios we can recreate using visualization and imagery. You know, elite athletes, when they're taught to use imagery systematically, they're able to control and make images very vivid. Controllability as a golfer is the ability to imagine exactly what it is that you'd like to imagine, and then the ability to manipulate different aspects of images that you wish to change. It's massively different to dreaming, which you can't control when you sleep. Let's face it. The vividness, that's different. That's how clear you can actually create an image and the level of detail involved, where you can bring in color, emotion, physical sensations and other senses. So it makes it feel so real. For years now, when working with clients, I've systematically put many audios together, and that forms part of the process of working with a client over 6, 8, 10 sessions. Not always, but that often is the case, especially when you've got a challenge like this where you can't find consistency, when you're not decisive, and you feel like you're leaving shots out there on the golf course. I know personally, I've sought help with my golf in the past and used it an awful lot, and I continue to do so, 10, 12 years on. And you might want to check out 2 podcasts that I published earlier, quite early in the Demystifying Mental Toughness days. Steve Judge, a world champion para-triathlete, he talks about his approach, tuning in, really dialing into his performances, using imagery as a motivational tool. And he felt that imagery didn't half make a massive difference to his performances. It's one of the first episodes I created on this podcast. And then Toby Flood also goes on to discuss how he actually mentally prepares for big rugby matches, and again, the positive impact on his confidence levels and in reducing performance anxiety. If you look at about 17 minutes into Toby's podcast, you'll hear his pearls of wisdom around visualization. So yeah, I believe in visualization. I think it makes a massive difference to golfers, to athletes in general, if used correctly. Certainly Google it, find out a little bit more about it if you need to. You can also check out my different golfing podcasts and blogs. There's going to be links in the show notes there where I do touch on visualization from time to time. Have a great week. Go and put it into practice on the course, on the practice area when you're training. And I can pretty much guarantee your confidence levels are going to go up. You're going to quieten that mind and play some better golf. Enjoy. If you enjoyed this episode of the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast with David Charlton, do check out my website, sport-excellence.co.uk, and my online sports psychology resources. The Sport-Excellence website has essential resources for anyone looking to build their own mental toughness or the mental toughness of their athletes or teams, or if you want to achieve peak performance more often or optimal functioning. The Sport Excellence website has everything you need to keep moving forward and thrive. So go on, head over to sport-excellence.co.uk to find out more.